Hey everyone, welcome to another LOZA video. Today we're talking about what if Illusion of Chaos was a spell, and I'm sure a couple of you are wondering why that would matter, but the more you think about it, it would actually be ideal for the Dark Magician deck if Illusion of Chaos was never actually a ritual monster and instead was a spell. What do I mean by that? Well, let's jump into the first combo. It's just going to be using Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod's problem in Dark Magician is it's not a one-card combo into anything. So in the past we played things like Diviner of the Herald. Other decks have played other engines which just use other normal summons, and right now we normally play the Primite engine where Beryl is just an exceptional normal summon that sets up not only Dark Magician on the field but Drill Beam as well, and Beryl to recur itself next turn, and potentially even Spheres on the field. So Beryl normal summon threatens an opponent's hand trap because it's going to set up a bunch of stuff. Rod does not. People will hand trap it anyway, but it doesn't threaten anything relevant. Anyway, here we are. We're going to normal summon Rod here in a world where Illusion of Chaos is a spell. So we're going to use that Magician Rod effect, get ourselves Illusion of Chaos as a spell. Illusion of Chaos as a spell is going to still reveal itself in the hand though. It could just work like a Rhoda. I really don't care. And we're going to go and get ourselves Magician Souls, and we'll just put the spell back on top of the deck. That's kind of the concept I'm going with here. Now, you'll notice we've got Rod, and now we have Souls. Hold up, that's perfect, right? Okay, so Souls will mill Dark Magician. Oh, sorry, we need to mill the next card. Souls will mill Dark Magician. We'll just put this guy back in the deck real quick. There we go. And then Soul's Effect will summon the Dark Magician, so we'll just go ahead and put the Souls in the grave. So Soul's Effect, milling Dark Magician, summoning Dark Magician. We've of course used a spell card this turn because Illusion of Chaos is a spell. So now we can banish Dark Magician and we're able to go and summon Dark Magician of Destruction. From here we're able to go and search Timaeus. Oh sorry, I put this card on top again. We're going to go and search Gaze of Timaeus. And then from here we can simply link these away, make SP Little Knight or Fiendsmith link to, right? Or the Fiendsmith, you know what I mean, Moon Maiden that goes into, not Moon Maiden, that's Artemis. Maiden that goes into the Fiendsmith combo. Any link to, really. If it's Master Duel, you can make Anaconda, right? And then you just set the gaze and then pass turn, and on the opponent's turn, you're going to be able to go SP Little Knight, tag out one of the opponent's cards, and you're going to be able to go gaze, shuffle back into the extra deck this bad boy to summon out literally any of the other bad boys, normally Dragoon. So it just makes Rod that one card combo into doing something, and that's kind of what we need in Dark Magician, because Rod is just kind of this bad card that we play at 1 because it's searchable and a normal summon in our deck, but it's not really worth searching anything too crazy. Now of course searching Gaze is really good, but you just saw how if I'm able to get to Dark Magician of Destruction, I'm just kind of able to search Gaze anyway. But Rod is a nice backup for that option, I won't deny that. Let's look at another card that gets a lot better now that, you know, Dark Magician of, whatchamacallit? The Illusion of Chaos, sorry, is a spell. Let's just play this hand out, as it were. We're going to go and get Circle here. Oh, there it is. We're the one of Circle. We're going to activate Circle, and look, it's probably not going to hit because it's Circle, but we're gonna pray. 1, 2, and 3. Well, it actually hit, and that's the card we wanted to see. This gives Circle a card to hit off it that actually does something, right? Now, my logic for this is Preparation of Rites is now a one-card combo in Dark Magician to make the board you just saw earlier. So, kind of my logic here is, well, if Preparation of Rites is a one-card Dark Magician starter, why can't Illusion of Chaos? Well, Illusion of Chaos should have been a spell. That is a Dark Magician one-card starter. We need a spell in Archetype that's a one-card starter. How come Fiendsmith gets tracked, other decks get their spell one-card starter? Like, where's ours? We don't have one. Well, we do, but they're just not in Archetype. So as I mentioned, Illusion of Chaos being a spell not only would be beneficial for the new card, Dark Magician of Destruction, it would have been beneficial back in a time when, you know, we just wanted to make Link 2s, when we wanted to make Anaconda, whether you want to make the Rabbit, whether you want to make anything. Rod being able to go and get Souls and make a Link 2 is just huge. So yeah, I do think it's a bit of a mistake that Illusion of Chaos was a monster. I think it actually should have just been a spell. If you look down here at my side deck, this is all the cards that are a one-card combo into Dark Magician of Destruction, which means it's essentially one-card combo Dragoons. Some of them are better. Wanted and Diabell are actually even better. I should probably have Diabell here as well. It's funny because not only Diabell, but also Wanted is part of this one-card combo. So that's kind of insane, right? Just all these cards here do it. There is some more 2-card versions, but these are all the 1-card versions. So without further ado, Fusion Deployment, Primite Raw, Ready Fusion, Shining Sarcophagus, Wanted, Seeker, and Diabell, but Diabell needs a discard, so yeah, maybe it shouldn't be here. And Preparation of Rites. So Shining Sarc's also kind of in this boat where the Dark Magician Girl is also kind of part of this, the same way Diabell's part of this one, right? They're both 2-card combos because this needs a discard and this needs a discard. But if you have the discard, like, these are going to make you Dragoon. Well, more specifically Dark Magician of Destruction, because they both have spells tied to what they're going to search or play. And then you can just go into Dark Magician Destruction, go get your Gaze of Timaeus, make your Dragoon, right? It's kind of that simple. But it is shocking to me that we have to rely on either Prep. Well, I think Prep's probably the most generic because, you know, it searches Illusion of Chaos. You could argue Prep's the most in-archetype 1-card combo way we have to Dragoon. But apart from that, Fusion Deployment, which I don't like because it locks you out of linking, which I do like to have the option of. Raw is probably one of the better options too because we're probably going to play a Primite engine. If you saw my latest profile, my 60 deck profile, go check it if you haven't. It's insane. It pretty much plays a combination of all the engines here just to make, you know, Dragoon as efficiently as possible. Yeah, Raw's really solid, but even then, we want to search Drill Beam off Barrel and Load 99% of the time, so unless you open Drill Beam, you are probably not searching Raw, right? It feels bad, but that's how it is. But opening Raw is good, so I still think you play at least one in a Primite DM build. Ready Fusion, I personally don't like because you need to play Sandwich in the extra deck and just kind of waste a slot. Like, I feel like I want to dedicate all my space to good options, and like, how many Sandwich am I going to play per Ready Fusion, you know what I'm saying? Ready Fusion probably the worst of them because Prep, literally, we're already playing Illusion of Chaos, so Prep's probably the safest one here. Though you could argue Ready Fusion doesn't play in a Droll, right? Ready Fusion, Prep does. Ready Fusion, you activate it, summon Sandwich, and then go straight into Dark Magician Destruction, and then you get Drolled after that, but you've still got your Gaze of Timaeus and your Dark Magician Destruction, so you still got your Dragoon in your opponent's turn, you know what I'm saying? Fusion Deployment kind of in a similar boat. You can just go Fusion Deployment, summon this, go into this, Bob's your uncle, you've got your Gaze, and, you know, you could be Drolled, but you've at least got your Gaze, and you're chilling. Primate Raw, pretty much same boat as Fusion Deployment. You'll go into this, get this. You get Drolled, and then you're fine. So I can understand that the Prep's bad because it doesn't play around Droll. Totally understandable. Shining Sarc engine, quite good. You can open Sarc, and Sarc can search just Dark Magician. So if we look at Dark Magician, this one. So typically, if you open Sarc, you just go and search this, summon this goes into this gets this, right? But that, of course, doesn't play around Droll. But typically, you will either open Sarc or you open Girl. And for Girl, you do need a discard, but then she searches this, activate this, add another copy of her, or add the Dark Magician, as we mentioned earlier. Summon the Dark Magician, then you got both of these on the field. So if you have access to Soul Servant, which you're about to get, you do that. You are going to have Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician on the field, and then you are going to turn the Dark Magician into Dark Magician of Destruction, and you'll search Soul Servant, stack Gaze, you get to draw 2 and engage. Well, draw 1 and Gaze confirmed. I find it's pretty good, but once again, needs a discard. So you could argue Ready Fusion's better, but needs extra deck. Raw's better, but requires 2k life points. And Fusion Deployment is better because, well, there's no cost tied to it, and it's not playing into Droll. But, of course, it plays into Ash, which Ready Fusion does not. Ready Fusion does not play into Ash. So they all kind of have their pros and cons, and I hate being locked into Fusions, even though probably the most fine in this deck than any other deck right now, like any other build of DM right now. Like, we do have links, but you don't have to use them. So while they all have their pros and cons, I guess Ready Fusion in theory is one of the better ones because you can't be hand trapped on it, right? That's kind of good now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud. My problem still is I don't know if I can dedicate space to Sandwich. I just don't know if I can. Perhaps also not once per turn, whereas all of these are once per turn. So not that that should matter too often. I mean, you could also just play a combination of these. That's probably the ideal way to move forward. But yeah, I think Diabell and Wanted's probably the most solid because not only do you end on Dragoon, you end on the Azamena negate. So let's just go look at that. You will be ending on this Sylvia as well as Dragoon. So having 2 negates off 2 cards is pretty nice. And there's obviously recursion as well. This engine, you know, through Hollowed Azamena and Deception, you actually can recycle stuff, and Wanted 2 can recycle stuff and draw. So this engine's great because it kind of pays for itself in the long run if stuff doesn't get negated. So yeah, Shining Sarc probably as well. If the Shining Sarc stays on the field, right, you get to search again next turn. And obviously if you're playing Primite, Barrel keeps adding back, Drill Beam keeps setting. So the cool thing about all these 3 engines that we've kind of got here, well, I should move these 2 away because they're not engines, but these ones kind of are. The cool thing about all these engines here is they literally all can get you to Dragoon, but they can all do other stuff too. Like, as a mainer, a Diabell just can set up a negate outside of the Dragoon stuff. Shining Sark, probably the weakest of the engines. It kind of just is more DM on theme, and obviously has synergy with Soul Servant and the DM cards themselves, while having nothing to do outside of Summon Dragoon. They'll all just be extra bodies for link material. Primite is probably the most traditional support, being, you know, a way to not only get Dark Magician vanilla pure guy on the field, but also facilitate Drill Beam, which is just insane, as we all know. So it's a bit awkward, but like kind of all these cards here can do crazy stuff. But yeah, I still feel like if you open Barrel Load, you are just better off searching Drill Beam 99% of the time. That's the other problem people have mentioned. Why aren't you playing Primite Fusion in that 60 card build? I just feel like between Raw and between Drill Beam, you are just 99% of the time adding one of those two. Like, it's always Drill Beam, and then the 1% of the time where you open Drill Beam or open Raw, yeah, you get the other piece. And, like, I don't want to add a Fusion to that as well. It's like another piece we need. I don't know. It's probably fine, but you can definitely play Primite Fusion if you want to play it. I think it's a good card. But yeah, we're really focusing on just summoning Dragoon. So I guess I could argue this also could help with that, but I digress. We might look at that at a later date, but basically I want as many one-card ways there, and like obviously if you're getting hand-trapped on Shining Sark DM, it's like, oh well, just shift into my other engine, Diabell, tribute the DMG. Diabell? Response? Oh, hand-trapped? Okay, normal summon Barrel, and we just do it that way, right? So there's, the crossover of these engines is great too. There's pretty much, besides Fusion deployment, nothing here really locks you into anything, right? They all have like kind of their costs, if you will. Like this one, you need to be playing Sandwich. This one, you're locked out of the extra deck. This one, you kind of have to go the vanilla path. This one is probably one of the safer ones, but also like this is a brick. Opening multiple of this engine's terrible. Opening multiple of this engine's good. Opening multiple of the Diabell stuff is okay. It's probably the best of the engines. You do need discards and send. Same with this engine, sorry. That's their downsides. These engines are 2-card combos most of the time, whereas these engines are all 1-card combos. So, have I missed any other spells? Let me know down in the chat, guys, if I missed any other spells. So basically, I was hoping we could have like an in-archetype 1-card spell that kind of is what all these cards do. Maybe not the Azumena making, you know, the Sylvia before you go on a Dragoon, because that's awesome, but I don't expect that in Archetype. But I do expect the Dark Magician Archetype to have a normal summon that is maybe like on par with Beryl or a little bit behind Beryl. Right now it's like a gigantic way behind Beryl, and I'm just going to be normal summoning Beryl and playing one Rod, right? It's just how it is. But anyway, this is just this is not a deck list, by the way. Ignore this deck list. This is literally just me for testing the new support as like a pure style. And I just thought an in-archetype way of making Dragoon with starting from Rod would be nice. And I've mentioned in previous videos, Rod having a Link 1 would be huge too, even though some people think this is a Link 1 for DM. I get what you're saying, but like I can't make it with Rod. So to me, it's not a Link 1. Rod's probably the most important card to become a Link 1 in DM. And there's a number of reasons. One, it's your normal summon that can recycle itself by tributing a spellcaster, but it needs to be in the graveyard to do that. So getting it into the grave is important, and a Link 1 just means even if you open just Rod, you can do that, right? I can open Rod 4 hand traps, and if I can get it into the graveyard turn 1, I'm very happy. But if it's also a 1-card combo into Dark Magician of Destruction Dragoon, I'm also very happy. So this is basically what we need moving forward. And some people are probably like, DM's already got too much support, you're being too greedy, and fair enough to those people. But guess what? The deck is still terrible, unfortunately. The actual engines themselves are not very good. And I think what we need is for Rod to be a viable 3-of normal summon. We need a card that does this. Probably a better card, let's be real, if we want to be meta relevant. But just like as generic as possible, as easy as possible. I'm not trying to make Dark Magician tier 1 here. I just want it to be a little more consistent and a little more in archetype for at least the normal summon of the deck. Because, let's be real, Rod getting this only gets us to a Dragoon. I think I would argue that Beryl's still better, right? Because Beryl is setting up Load, which gets Drill Beam, and puts a Dark Magician on the field. And that means next turn, I'm going to get Beryl back, hypothetically, if the DM survives. Or if DM just needs to be on field or grave. If DM's on field or grave, when it comes back to my turn and it didn't die, I get Beryl back, and then I normal Beryl. Even if Beryl gets hand-trapped, I then get the Drill Beam back, right? And I can use Load again to summon DM again. Like, this deck, this engine, the Primite engine, is just like a better version of Circle and Eternal Soul. Straight up, like, Load replaces Eternal Soul. but it also replaces circle. Like, well, drill beam's like the half of circle that is the banish, right? The negate and banish. And then load is like the part of circle that's the search and the eternal soul part. And then barrel is just the magician's rod, right? You could literally just like reskin these match. I think Matchy's talked about this. You could just kind of reskin these cards, even though Raw is kind of the exception. Raw is like the magician's souls, right? Pardon me. So, rod and barrel are interchangeable, right? They're pretty much serving the same purpose here. Circle and drill beam, it's a bit of a stretch because load kind of does circle stuff as well, the searching part. But anyway, Eternal Soul and Load are probably the most similar, and then Souls and Primal Raw are the most similar, right? That's the easiest comparisons I can make, right? Let's just chuck something in here so we can show that a bit better. Just chuck a Shining Sark here, so like these two are pretty much the same, right? These two are pretty much the same. These two are pretty much the same, and then these two are pretty much the same. The only difference is this has a great graveyard effect post when you use it. You just get to banish. No one remembers that. You just get to banish something in your opponent's field. Great. You can just use this every turn to pump out DM from hand, deck, grave. Kind of insane. Kind of insane. Yes, you can't do it on your opponent's turn, but in theory you should have DM on your field with Drill Beam ready to go, right? Insane. Insane. This engine also means we get to end on things like spheres. Spheres summon out a bestial, which we're not currently... There should be one in here, but there's not. Spheres just being able to summon out Magna. Pardon me. Just insane. Spheres just goes into Magna. Magna can get even Beryl, or it can just get Draw Swarm, right? I normally just get more bestials because you're normally getting Beryl back off just the shenanigans of the deck. But yeah, I think when you look at Illusion of Chaos as a spell, it's a bit of an eye-opener. So let me know in the comments if, you know, you had your eyes open today by that. That was something you didn't know before. I'm just going to clean up some of the one-card Dragoon cards here because... But anyway, that's probably the end of this video. Let me know what you think. I'm not really the biggest fan of custom cards and that, but I do like theory crafting for the future and kind of, you know, wishing upon a star as to what support we do get. As much as we all want a good fusion spell and a DM Link one, a Link one is also good, but I think Illusion of Chaos as a spell, just a rotor for the deck that's in Archetype would solve a lot of problems, and it would kind of make Circle a bit better too, even though I think ideally we're just dropping Circle and Eternal Soul a lot of the time. But they're still kind of okay to play at 1, because you can get them when you need them. Like if you open Circle, oh, you can go get your Eternal Soul if you have a way to it, and then it's kind of better. But playing the deck to ensure you resolve, like, you know, 3 Circle, 3 Eternal Soul on field, it just feels bad. It feels dated and bad, unfortunately. I would love to just play Dragon Knight Turbo with these cards, but there's just not a viable way to do it, even with Gaze of Timaeus. But yeah, that's probably the end from me, my gamers. I hope to see you on the next one. Oh yeah, and let me know if I missed any 1-card or 2-card Dragoons in the comments with the new spell support with thanks to Dark Magician Destruction. Shoutouts to all the members of the channel, the DM Royals. You guys are the best. Catches.